How has Venezuela gone from experiencing 30 years of strong economic growth with strong immigration to being a country fallen into protests and with an emigration of more than 7 million Venezuelans since 2015? From hyperinflation to the partial dollarization of its economy to the creation of its own cryptocurrency, Nicolas Maduro's management these past 11 years has been a journey full of challenges and surprising strategies. Nicolas Maduro assumed the presidency in 2013, following the death of Hugo Chávez, who had ruled the country since 1999. Chávez left a significant legacy, marked by social and economic policies that sought to redistribute the country's oil wealth through social programs known as missions. Despite these social programs, the Venezuelan economy was already showing signs of structural problems before Chávez's death. In this context, Maduro inherited an economy already in trouble, with high inflation, a price control policy, and a critical dependence on oil. However, the situation worsened rapidly, becoming one of the worst economic crises in the country's history. Maduro's first years. In his first years, between 2013 and 2016, Maduro continued many of Chávez's policies, including price controls on goods and services. However, the drop in oil prices in 2014 hit Venezuela hard, as the country relied heavily on crude exports. Oil went from around $100 per barrel to less than $50 per barrel in a few months. With less income from exports, the government saw as a solution to print more money to cover its expenses, which led the country to hyperinflation, with a significant increase in the prices of goods and services. Hyperinflation, coupled with price controls and the Venezuelan government's fixing of official exchange rates, contributed to shortages of basic living commodities. Regulated prices were so low that many companies could not produce without making a profit, resulting in the disappearance of products from the shelves in the famous empty supermarkets. During this period, the government implemented measures to control its currency and its exchange rate with other currencies. This strict exchange control implemented by the government failed to stabilize the economy. Rather, it created a parallel currency black market. In 2014, the official exchange rate was approximately 6.3 bolivars per dollar, while in the black market, it reached much higher figures, reaching over 70 bolivars per dollar. By 2016, the gap had widened significantly. The official exchange rate was still at 630 bolivars for essential goods and public debt, but on the black market, the dollar could be quoted at more than 1,000 bolivars. The rate was 158 times higher than the official rate. The minimum wage in the country at that time was about 10,000 bolivars, equivalent to about $10 on the black market. Venezuela's deep economic, social, and political crisis. Between 2017 and 2018, the economic situation deteriorated further. Inflation soared to historic levels, reaching 1,000,000% in 2018, according to the International Monetary Fund, IMF. This means that prices of goods and services doubled approximately every 19 days. Shortages of basic goods and medicines became a daily problem for Venezuelans, generating an unprecedented humanitarian crisis in the region. During this period, the government implemented the Great Mission of Sovereign Supply in an attempt to control the distribution of food and essential products. This mission sought to intervene in the production and distribution chain to guarantee supply at regulated prices. However, corruption and administrative inefficiency limited its effectiveness. The crisis also provoked a massive migration of Venezuelans. According to UN figures, more than 4 million people left the country between 2015 and 2019, seeking better living conditions in neighboring countries such as Colombia, Peru, Chile, Ecuador, the United States, and Spain. On the political front, the economic crisis translated into deep instability. Anti-government protests intensified, and the government responded with repressive measures. In 2017, the opposition-controlled National Assembly was de facto replaced by a National Constituent Assembly loyal to Maduro, further aggravating the political and economic crisis. Attempts at stabilization. Between 2019 and 2021, in an attempt to stabilize the economy, Maduro introduced a series of economic measures in 2019, including the partial dollarization of the economy and the elimination of some price controls. These measures allowed a slight stabilization in some sectors, and helped to reduce hyperinflation. As the government allowed the use of the US dollar in the Venezuelan economy, it facilitated transactions, helped stabilize prices, and slowed hyperinflation, giving a respite to citizens and businesses that could access foreign currency. However, these measures also had their disadvantages. Partial dollarization created a dual economy where those with access to dollars were able to maintain their standard of living, while those who depended on the bolivar continued to face severe difficulties, thus further aggravating inequalities within the country. In addition, the elimination of price controls did not solve product shortages, as local production remained insufficient and dependent on imports. Another significant attempt by Maduro, which began between 2017 and 2018 to stabilize the economy, was the introduction of the Petro, a cryptocurrency backed by the country's oil reserves. The aim of the Petro was to evade international sanctions and provide a new way to capture foreign currency. However, the adoption of the Petro has been limited and has not had the expected impact on the economy. In March 2023, all operations using the Petro were suspended, and this cryptocurrency has since begun a silent demise. During this period, international sanctions, especially from the United States, also played an important role in the Venezuelan economy. These sanctions restricted the country's access to international financial markets and to the technology needed to maintain oil production. As a result, oil production continued to decline, exacerbating the country's economic problems and complicating economic recovery. Current situation and future projections. To date, Venezuela continues to face major economic challenges. Maduro's re-election in 2024 raises questions about the country's economic future. Although, as of 2022, inflation began to moderate and there was slight economic growth, in part due to higher oil prices and remittances sent by Venezuelans abroad, the economy remains fragile and dependent on external factors. One of the biggest challenges is the dependence on oil, coupled with the fact that production in Venezuela remains low due to the lack of investment in maintenance and infrastructure. Diversification of the economy is crucial to reduce this dependence, but so far, efforts in this regard have been limited. In addition, international sanctions continue to affect the government's ability to manage the economy. Without access to international markets and with restrictions on imports of goods and services, the Venezuelan economy faces a difficult road to recovery. In social terms, the economic crisis has left deep scars. Poverty and inequality have increased, and the quality of life of Venezuelans has declined significantly. The mass migration continues, with more than 7.5 million Venezuelans having left the country by 2023, and the number is expected to reach 8.4 million by 2025. In conclusion, the Venezuelan economy under Nicolás Maduro has gone through drastic changes and persistent challenges. From hyperinflation to dollarization and the introduction of the Petro, Maduro has navigated turbulent waters. Through this period-by-period analysis, we hope to have shed light on the complexity of the situation and the implications of economic policies in Venezuela. I leave you with two interesting videos that you may enjoy. See you next time.